Viewers, the Gaza Strip, out of which Hamas operates, only has an area of 365 square kilometers. However, it's a well-known fact that a large part of Hamas's terror network operates not from above the ground but from below, in the expansive tunnel network built underground. Hamas claims that this tunnel network is over 500 kilometers long and poses a challenge for Israeli troops as well as they expand their ground operations. As Israel expands its ground operations in Gaza to wipe out Hamas and its lifeline tonight, we speak to one man who knows it all, former IDF soldier Achiya Klein, who survived an explosion in a booby-trapped Hamas tunnel. First, just listen to his inspiring story.
A squadron commander of the Israeli Engineering Corps in 2013, trained in destroying underground networks and hidden caches. First Lieutenant Achiya Klein was part of Israel's fight against Hamas terror and their sprawling terror tunnels. In October 2013, First Lieutenant Achiya Klein was involved in an operation to dismantle a terror tunnel near the Gaza security fence. However, the tunnel was booby-trapped, and unfortunately, they triggered the bomb, setting off a massive explosion that killed 4 terrorists and severely wounded Achiya. Taking the brunt of the blast, Achiya suffered extensive injuries, especially the devastating loss of his eyesight. He was severely injured, his face crushed, and his entire body riddled with shrapnel. Today, he is a Paralympian who lives on to tell the tale, a hero for millions of Israeli civilians, a former soldier who may have lost his eyesight, but not his resolve. Bureau Report, Times Now.
Joining us on the show is Mr. Achiya Klein, a former IDF soldier. I'd like to firstly thank you so much for speaking to Times Now, Mr. Klein. It's an honor to have you with us. In your last mission, in which you were severely injured and tragically lost your eyesight, was a mission to dismantle a terrorist tunnel just outside of Gaza. How easy is it to fall prey to such booby traps in these tunnels, sir?
First of all, thanks for having me. And let me spread some light on the tunnels. Yeah, I mean, the tunnel was really difficult to find, and I was hitting by booby traps. It was there to stop us from dismantle the tunnel, because as we know, the tunnel was kind of the holy grave of Hamas, and they dig a lot of them to cross to the Israeli border, and our mission was to dismantle this threat.
Right. Yeah, Mr. Klein, we know that Israel has been bombed at least, or has bombed at least 130 tunnels now under Hamas control in the Gaza Strip. How important is it to dismantle this entire tunnel system to ensure the obliteration of Hamas operations?
So I think, as all of us see now from the media, from the people that reporting about this war, we saw that Hamas, what they're doing is actually hiding in these tunnels, tunnel network under building of Gaza, and just they understand their power is to just show up from one of the tunnels, attack, and crawl back inside to the tunnels. So the IDF understand, in order to dismantle Hamas, we must hit the tunnel system, because that's the let's call it the main shield of Hamas. It's the human being of Gaza, the citizens of Gaza, and also the terror tunnel, the network of tunnels. That's what's kept Hamas still in this battle.
Right. And can you describe what it's like to actually be inside of these tunnels? Do you need to use some special gear to get around comfortably? Is it an organized system of underground passages that could have all sorts of trapdoors and more passages that it leads into? What is it like to actually navigate these tunnels?
So if we will talk about 20 years ago, it was very, very different system of tunnel. It was way more shallow. In order to get in the tunnel, to go forward in the tunnel, we would use to crawl inside. But now it's very, very developed system. It's highly structured, highly built. They invest a lot of resources on that. And you don't need actually special stuff because it's built like city, like urban underground place.
Right. Now, there's also talk of these hostages who are reportedly housed in some of these tunnels. There are many questions about how safe they are if they're actually present there. The possibility of their presence in these tunnels, do you think that could be a drawback affecting even IDF operations, perhaps?
I think what IDF tried to do right now is to work. I mean, just not the Israeli. I mean, everyone know about the hostage situation. So of course, the IDF take it as they consider it. As the Israeli Prime Minister and the Israeli Minister of Defense said, one of the target is to release the hospital. This is one of the targets of this war against Hamas. So they work very, very carefully as much as they can. You know, I mean, first of all, you need to dismantle the threat, the terrorists that are fighting against us, and then after, like, to see what they can do with the hostages.
Right. Also, do you think that the IDF will be able to ensure the safe release of these hostages soon?
First of all, every day I'm praying for that, and this is my hope that we will be able to release the innocent people that was captured by Hamas in the terrible day of October 7. You know, as we saw a few weeks ago, it was one operation that was managed to save one of the hostages, and I hope it will be happen soon. I really hope the entire world will put some pressure. You know, there is an organization like the Red Cross and stuff like that that's supposed to be very active on this subject. So I really hoping that we'll be able to release all of them.
Right. Also, if I can ask you, as someone who's been inside these tunnels, how do you view the October 7th attack by Hamas terrorists? Do you think these tunnels would have played a key role in keeping everything, the men, the machinery, the movement, all of that under wraps?
So, as we know, 10 years ago, in the last operation in Gaza, Israel was dragged to the Gaza area and destroyed a lot of the network tunnel that was crossing between Gaza to Israel. So I think the main plan of Hamas, as we know, as Hezbollah in the north, was to a lot of terrorists through this tunnel to the Israeli area, the chaos of kidnap and slaughter and stuff like that. So what happened 10 years ago is that have managed to destroy a lot of this network system, and then what we saw in October 7, I don't know if they used specific tunnel, but because they didn't have the possibility to use it, so they was needed to go up ground instead of underground. But I'm sure if they will do the underground operation, it was like planned in the beginning, it was much terrible.
And also, you know, in terms of this entire network, now in that 40-kilometer Gaza Strip, there's talk about over 500 kilometers of such a long tunnel network. The question that many are asking is that perhaps this is not going to be such an easy task. In your case itself, we know how some of these tunnels could potentially be booby-trapped. We're told that several of these tunnels are also much deeper than, as you were mentioning, they existed earlier. In terms of the challenge for the forces in cracking down on this tunnel network, it is, of course, essential for IDF if they want to crack down on Hamas to ensure the crackdown on this tunnel network. But in terms of the challenges that the forces face, how difficult is it? And practically, what are the challenges?
So I think the main challenge right now that Israel is going to face, it's not I mean, in order to face these challenges you just mentioned, it's time. And now Israelis start to facing the challenge of time from you know, people around the world, you know, organization, people. I mean, you probably saw the tons of protests against Israel, and Israel needs time in order to take it take care of the tunnel, to do it carefully, to do it manageable, and we understand that it's going to take time. But I think Israel is well prepared for that. I mean, Israel understands there is no choice. We must dismantle this threat. So it will take time, but I mean, step by step, we will succeed to do it. And when you say 500 kilometers, it's not just a straight line of 500 kilometers, because if that was a situation, that was easy. It's branches and branches and branches, like it's going for everywhere. I mean, you can actually walk and it can be beneath you and you will never know it. So I mean, the complex, it's how complicated the system underground.
Absolutely. And in fact, when you mention time, what is your estimation in your view? Of course, it's very hard to hazard a guess, I understand. But in terms of the time that it will take to crack down, are we looking at weeks? Are we looking at months? What is the kind of time that we are looking at in terms of how you expect this crackdown will, in fact, be completed?
I mean, we saw, I think for sure it will take a few good weeks, maybe a little bit more. I mean, it also depends what will be the reaction on the other side. I mean, like the Minister of Defense, I think, said last week, I mean, if the head of Hamas will come out with the white flag, I mean, we can finish this war. I mean, if they will manage to get to the head of the snake and just make everything way more less complicated, so I think it will be way more easier, and it will be less destroyed. I mean, Israel soldiers, they're not bloodthirsty. I mean, if we would not need to destroy it and to put bombs from the air, we will not do it. I mean, we are doing it because there is a resistance on the field. But I mean, you know, many years ago, it was a smart woman. His name is Golda Meir. She said, if the Arabs will put down the weapon, it just will be peace. But if Israel will put down his weapon, it will be, they will just kill us. So I think that's the situation, and this is what people need to understand about this war.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned the fact that, you know, you could be walking on the road and perhaps there's a tunnel beneath that. So this is that part of the challenge really for the IDF and the forces? Because who's to say whether these tunnels are running below hospitals, mosques, schools, for instance? Is that one of the main challenges that the forces are really facing?
Yes, 100%. I mean, Hamas put aside their terrorist organizations. They're also very smart, and they know the public opinion about Israel. They know if they will put missile launcher next to hospital or kindergarten, or even like a playground for children. You know, it will be 10 times harder for Israel to destroy this place. I mean, we all know that. I think everyone that watch the news, Israel just keep bring more and more evidence about that, and Israel well known as this challenge. And I think despite this challenge, Israel taking act, and they're doing very carefully, and everything, you know, it's according to evidence and stuff like that. We not just like bomb houses because we feel to, you know, we do it because we have evidence of terror active there.
Right. It's interesting you mentioned that, because we're at a time when Gaza has actually been encircled by Israeli forces, and they're already, I believe, conducting a door-to-door sweep of Gaza City as well. At the moment, there are some questions which are being asked about whether this response is measured. What do you think about this call about whether Israel should adhere to a ceasefire, or the question about whether it should just finish the job, quote unquote?
So I think to see people dying, it's not pleasant at all. I mean, no one wants to see anyone dying. I mean, we need to understand we're facing a very evil forces here. It's not just like some regular place. I think 2 days ago, Israel mentioned the exact name, like even a poster is picture. This is the person that holds the citizens of Gaza as a hostage in the hospital and don't let him leave to the south of the Gaza Strip. I mean, we understand what we are facing. I mean, we try to do. We just announced they open a new Telegram channel that if citizens in Gaza will capture by Hamas, and Hamas don't let him to live south, Israel will help them. I think from the beginning of the war, it was a lot of humanitarian stuff that in the south of Gaza, and what Israel tried from the first day, even before they walk in, to tell the people of Gaza, if you want to leave, if you want to not be hurted by the war, you need to go south. And that's, of course, also going against Israel, because the Hamas be ready for us to go in, but also I think this is what we should do according to the law of war. But I mean, Israel do everything that is her power to make it happen.
Well, absolutely. It's obviously a very complex question. There are no easy answers there. But if I can ask you about your own case, Mr. Klein, you've obviously spent quite some time recuperating, trying to begin a new life after losing your eyesight, to going to represent Israel in the Paralympics. How difficult has it been to come out of the war zone after the war is over? Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
So I think this is part of the Jewish spirit, because I got injured very badly, a very complex injury. I was in a critical situation, but after a few weeks, when I understand what happened to me and what exactly is my injury, so I made myself two promises. First, I will never let my disability to stop me from doing anything in my life. And the second, I need to show, first of all, to myself, what can I do? And this is what I did. I mean, for me this is how I look. This is how I live my life, and I think it's related to everyone. In any time, any situation, can you facing the big black door just close on your face? But if you will be managed to just look aside to see if there is more door in the side, I mean, it will be easy.
Well, what an amazingly positive message and an inspiring message at that, Mr. Klein. Before we leave you, I'd like to ask you, what's the message that you'd like to give your IDF peers and the people of Israel, a lot of whom are still awaiting the return of their loved ones?
First of all, I think this is the most difficult question that you told me right now, because I don't have enough words. The only thing that I can give it to him, it's a big hug and support, and to tell them, everyone in Israel, everyone I think in the world that he is not reasonable to understand the situation, can need to be beside them and give them a huge hug and support, and to let them know they're not alone, and we will do everything that we can do in order to bring these people back home and to finish this threat.
Achiya Klein, for talking to us, taking the time out. I'd like to thank you so much, and also salute the spirit that you've shown today. It is amazing the kind of resolve that you have shown to bounce back with such positivity, with such clarity, and continuing to inspire the soldiers, the citizens of Israel, as well as the citizens of the world, with your amazing story and, of course, your insight into a world that no one else has perhaps seen with as much clarity as you have, the world of the terror tunnels under Gaza, something which, in fact, the IDF is cracking down upon now. I'd like to thank you so much for joining us this evening. Achiya Klein.